It's not your age. And yeah, our metabolism slows down. And so we just tweak what we eat. We get more sleep. We decrease the stress. So it's not about necessarily about age. Is age a factor? Yes. Genetics are a factor. A lot of things are a factor, but we can control for quite a bit of it.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. Have you ever embarked on a fitness program determined to lose weight, only to find yourself putting on weight instead? It's so frustrating. It's like you can't lose weight. Even when you try to lose weight, you gain it. So is it you? Is it your metabolism? Are you getting too old? Are you doing the wrong types of exercise? Or is there a piece of the puzzle you're missing? Our guest for today, Char Aukland, knows exactly how you feel because it happened to her. She set out on a quest to find out why she wasn't losing weight, and what she discovered might just surprise you. Char is a personal trainer, an Army veteran with a background in occupational therapy. As a certified occupational therapy assistant, she's worked with amputees returning from war and taught coping skills in an inpatient psychiatric ward. Her experiences have given her a really unique insight into the mental and emotional aspects of health coaching, including stress and self-esteem. Welcome, Char.
Hi, Amy.
It's so good to have you. So I want to start out with your personal story. So you were going to the gym and you were kickboxing and you were just doing everything and you weren't losing weight. What was going on?
What was going on was that I wasn't monitoring what I was eating. Like I had no idea. There were times that I had no idea that I was eating at all. I would borrow a fry from my daughter. We would go through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A and I would say, "Hey, Gabby, let mama taste your fries." And she would tell me, "But you have your own fries." And I'm like, "Yeah, but my fries could taste different from your fries. Let mama taste a fry." So I tasted things. So because I was thinking in terms of tasting and a little bit of, I didn't see it as eating. I saw eating as something that I sat down to do. But if I walked by and I picked up a fry or two fries, it's not a big deal. So it's like, okay, here's two fries. Or I love ketchup. So here's some ketchup. Here's a little bit more ketchup. So tiny little things add up. And like my fries, even though I had a small fry, and her fries have calories. And we don't think about that. It's like, okay, well, I just bit into that. I bit a piece of this, but we do it all day. And that's what I was doing. I was biting and tasting and then eating. And I never realized it until I started to track what I was eating and I had to put it in MyFitnessPal. And I'm like, wait, what? And so all of a sudden I was mindful of like everything. And I was shocked because I'm like, I didn't realize that I was eating all day long in little bits. So.
Yeah, well, what's really interesting about that is that so much of our lives are unconscious, right? We think we are really working our butts off, but we don't actually realize all of those little habits throughout the day that add up to fitness.
Yes, they do. And in the same way, there's a part of exercise. Well, it's not necessarily exercise, but it burns calories. It's called NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And it's just a really interesting way of saying move throughout the day. And it's not exercise, but it's responsible for the majority of the calories we burn that aren't actual exercise, other than our normal metabolism. So it's walking that extra distance from the parking lot to the store. It's cleaning your house. It's doing laundry. It's things that you don't think of, but you're moving, and it actually burns quite a few calories. So,
this is really interesting because when we think of, okay, I want to lose weight, I need to do two things. I need to go on a diet and I need to go to the gym. But what I'm hearing from you is actually what we need to do is we need to think about how we spend our days. And that's our lifestyle, not just a diet and a workout.
Yes. And that's, oh my gosh. And I love that you said that, because one of my pet peeves is a diet. The thing about dieting is that normally people that do it think in terms of a result at the end of a certain amount of time. And what they don't realize is that at the end of that time, what happens next? What are you going to do next? And so I'll hear people say, oh, I went down to 1,400 calories. They don't ask me my opinion. I don't give them my opinion. But I'm thinking, okay, you went down to 1,400 calories. You can't go much lower than that. And at some point, you're going to go back up. And at the point that you start increasing those calories after your weight loss, you are going to regain the weight. And I've lived that. I didn't realize it. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lose all of this weight. And then when I lost the weight, it's like, okay, I did a great job. I'll never regain the weight. And slowly I regained the weight because I stopped doing what worked, because it wasn't sustainable. I didn't change my lifestyle. I did temporary changes that lasted temporarily.
Oh, wow. So I love that. So crash diets, like we see them so much in women's magazines, like, lose 10 pounds to get your bikini body for summer. And we are sold the temporary transformation, but the whole lifestyle is not very sexy, because none of us want to think about, I want to go on a diet and I want to do daily workouts for the rest of my life. So talk about some of these lifestyle pieces. So you talked about NEAT, you talked about moving throughout the day, you talked about watching out for nibbling and tasting. And I think that's great. What other kind of lifestyle things do we need to look out for?
Sleep. Sleep is massive. And as I'm getting older, I have to be just on top of my sleep, because I'll wake up in the middle of the night and then it's hard for me to go back to sleep, even knowing how important sleep is, which I think puts a little more pressure on me. But when we don't get enough sleep, it can increase our cortisol. Cortisol stores belly fat. It stores the belly fat to give us energy. And that's the thing. It's like with our lives that are already pretty stressful, which stress releases cortisol, stores belly fat. We already have the stressful lives. We already have the lack of sleep, and they both increase our weight gain. They increase our appetite, and they increase fat storage. So things like that people overlook, you don't think about it, because you could be a mom or a working mom or whatever your deal happens to be, or just you have a hard time sleeping. But things like sleep, things like stress, especially uncontrolled stress, lead to not only weight gain, but increased blood sugar, increased blood pressure. So there's a whole bundle of things that go together.
So this is about being healthy. It's not about reaching a number on the scales and saying I'm good, right? Because one of the things that we tend to do is when we think about whether we are where we want to be at or not, we look at just that number. We're like, I'm X pounds and that's bad, or I'm X pounds and that's good. But this is a really big thing. This is about actually being healthy and, not having the cortisol. So this is why, I guess, instead of being just a person trainer, this is why you do health coaching, isn't it?
Yes. When I got to the number on the scale, that the magic number that was going to make everything okay, I realized that nothing was okay, that I was just a smaller version of myself. And it was mind blowing. Like, I was sad because I did all of this work, and okay, now what? Like, I feel the same. I am the same. My self-esteem is still low. I still feel inadequate. So what in the world is going on? And I didn't realize that there was a mental health and emotional health aspect to it. I thought it was all physical. Like, once the physical was great, then everything would be great. And then I realized, okay, well, this isn't great. Like, this is almost, it feels a little bit worse. So that's when I realized it's not about just weight. It's about everything that goes along with it. Like I'm an emotional eater. So I was eating when I was bored, and I typically lived in my emotions. And so I continued to live in my emotions even after the weight loss. So that's where the health coaching comes in, because when you're doing that, and again, your emotions go back to your stress levels and your ability to sleep. So everything is connected. And that and that was a learning curve. That was a learning curve.
So that is such something you don't hear, right? Because we really believe that once we get to our ideal weight, everything works, right?
Yeah.
Everything is perfect in our lives. But the only thing that's changed is our body,
Yes.
not ourselves.
No, not the habits, not what drove us to get to that point that we realized we needed to do something. Like there are things in the background that cause us to do all of these things that get us to this point where we don't want to be. And losing the weight doesn't take away those driving forces.
So, okay. So what if we've got someone watching this right now that says, okay, you're saying that, but I don't really believe you because I have been struggling with my weight for so long and I know I'm going to be happier when I'm at my right weight. How could you help that woman feel happier and more committed to her health now, even though she's not at the weight she wants to be?
That is a good question. Actually, I happen to be writing a book um, that addresses the thought process. So it addresses being able to look at ourselves and accept ourselves as we are, but it's not instant. And the thing is that people want to feel better instantly. Like it's a process. And not only is it a day-by-day process, sometimes it's a moment-by-moment process. There are times when you, in a single day, may feel amazing about who you are, and then 30 minutes later, you're depressed about who you are. So yeah, it would be really a series of questions and really kind of like a workbook to like I call it like the 90-day transformation. There needs to be a 90-day mental health, emotional aspect to that transformation as well. Because if you're not happy with who you are at your weight, that's coming from within, and that's you feeling like there is something wrong with you, not something wrong with the outside of you, something wrong with who you are as a person, not who you are as an appearance. So that, even though it seems like it would change, like logically, it seems like, no, this is my only fault. No, that's the only one you're aware of because that's what you're focused on.
So this is so big, right? So we started out thinking, right, okay, to lose weight, we've got to eat less, exercise more. And what we've discovered by talking to you is that actually to be healthy, we've got to look at every single thing we're doing, down to our sleeping habits, down to, you know, our movement throughout the day, and also the thoughts we're thinking.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
So we haven't even talked about a couple other things. Like, for example, a lot of women find that it's actually their age. You know, they hit 40, there's no going back. Or they have, you know, the second, the third kid, there's no going back. Do you think it's possible to get that super healthy body at any age? Or, you know, just do certain things just jinx us, like having kids or going through menopause?
What an interesting question, Amy. I have a 12-year-old and I homeschool, so she's in the room studying, but I am 46. I live in Florida, and it is a state where people really take appearance into account. So what I've noticed is that it depends on your mindset. If you think to yourself, oh, well, I'm getting older, then, and this is what happens, because I've heard people say that, well, I'm getting older and this is what happens. My mom is 71 and it didn't happen to her. So I don't know. And I see a lot of like my they're my heroines at the gym. These people are like 70s, they're 80s. They're not overweight. They're still playing tennis. They're doing things that I can't do at 46. And so maybe they didn't get the memo that weight should have, or that age should have caused them to gain weight and slow down. So I think, again, it's mindset. When we tell ourselves, I can't do something because, or this is what will happen, it's like we're resigning to that. Like, okay, well, this is it. I have given up. And at that point, it's you that have given up, it's not your age. And yeah, our metabolism slows down. And so we just tweak what we eat. We get more sleep. We decrease the stress. So it's not about necessarily about age. Is age a factor? Yes. Genetics are a factor. A lot of things are a factor, but we can control for quite a bit of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you offer health coaching, you offer personal coaching, you offer complete transformation programs. Tell us about those.
Well, what's interesting is with the health coaching, because with the personal training, I personal train here locally. And that is normally with my personal clients, but I also teach a class and it's elderly. And what I love about that is I do the post rehab, which goes back to my OT background, a lot of injury prevention, fall prevention, balance core. And because my preferred style of training is bodybuilding, bodybuilding really fits nicely into OT, and aging is like the perfect combination. So that's that aspect. But with the health coaching, one of my friends, Kristen Sherry, wrote a book called UMAP. And I was reading it and I'm like, oh my gosh, Kristen. And I went through the UMAP process and I'm like, this is not about career coaching at all. This is about the whole person. So I got certified as a UMAP coach to help me with my health coaching. And with that, I look at the top 5 strengths that a person has, along with their values and priorities. Because what I've found is that even though we may really want to lose weight, we may be really dissatisfied with our appearance. There are depending on what your strengths may be, it might not be in the cards for you to do something about it. And so there might be things that you don't realize are holding you back, or obstacles. Like I have one friend who her top 5 strengths have nothing to do with achievement or whatever it is. So she's not motivated to do all these things, but she loves communication. She loves talking to people and she travels a lot. So what she does is she gets her exercise in when she's walking around the airport. So she's staying true to herself, true to her strengths, true to her values and priorities. And so with UMAP for my health coaching, what it allows me to do is help people to identify what is more likely to appeal to them. It might not be bodybuilding. It might not be Zumba. It might not be CrossFit. And so they look at exercise as, well, it has to be this. It's like, no, it's personal. It can be what you want it to be. It can be skipping down the street. So, that's the thing is, so with the health coaching, I look at it from an extremely holistic way to help the person develop something that they will be able to stick to. Not something that I've told them to do, but something that's true to them and that they will want to stick to.
That is fantastic. And for those of you watching, if you want to check out Char's coaching, her whole process, we have a link for you. Just go to yourbrilliance.org/Char. That's yourbrilliance.org/CHAR. Thank you, Char, for coming onto the show. And I wondered if you had any last message you'd like to leave our viewers with.
Any last messages? Be true to who you are, love yourself, and be patient with yourself. The weight loss journey the health journey is a process. It is lifelong, and even when you have failures or setbacks, look at them as stepping stones and lessons that can teach you what to do better the next time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you out there for watching. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.